Okay, in the second folder that you posted, the you said something about the name. The folder that you created a shortcut inside it, so it's not an actual file. You actually, when you probably copied it over, you actually created a shortcut instead of actually copy the contents. So I'm basing on my information here on this folder here, and taking a look at it and looking at your code and so forth. Now, when I look at this, the colors, you can see how there are some empty space in between. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some tricks to correct that. There's no issues with what you did. It's just I want to show you some things. One of the things I would suggest that doing to make your life easier here is anything in the subheadings like the head section, I would actually indent that over. And you can do edit indent, but I always remember control in the right square bracket if you're using brackets, and that's going to indent over. Now what that does is I'm going to do this same thing for header and footer, because if you don't, it really makes it harder for you to go back and edit, because then you're going to find everything. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put heading 1 on its own line, and notice it automatically indents it for us because that's the way brackets are. Brackets, the program is. So this way, trust me, this is going to make your life a lot easier. Now, I would not probably have heading 1, then heading 2, then heading 3, and heading 4 the way you have it set up. Most likely you're going to change this content. Okay, so if I was going to do any type of headings, usually they're all going to be heading 2s for my subhead. Okay, that's just something I would do. Now what's happening is you haven't learned anything about block elements, and what happens is when you add block elements into a section, it adds space around that element. There's a box, there's an invisible box, and it's called the box model, and so it adds space above, below, and left and right of that element, and thus will cause that gap issue that we see. Now if we want to remove that gap, then I can go in, I would have to go in, and you might want to wait till you get to the box model, or what you want to do right now, you could delete what you have there. That's up to you at that point. But let me open up the folder for CSS and open that up in brackets. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a style that applies to the header h1 tag. So I'm going to do header space h1, and then I'm going to say margin colon 0. That removes the space to 0 around at the top, left, and right, and bottom. Now watch what happens to the header section. See how it moves it up to the top? Now let's do this. Since I've changed everything to H2s here, I made these all H2s. I don't have to tell it to go and look at the nav section article. I can apply it to all H2s. So then in this case, I could do H2. Now I do a header H1 is if I want to specifically look at a group and find it in that group, or I can apply it to all. And I just simply do margin 0. Now watch what happens here. Now it's all together. So we remove the margin, and what happens is, it's the box model. I'll post some more information about the box model so you can get a little bit more information and understanding.